Hi, everybody. Welcome to Stamping with Melva. Just give me a minute, just trying to connect my Facebook group, which I think I have. Oh, goodness. There we go. All right. Just give it a minute to get onto my Facebook group, and then we will get started. There we go. All right. Let me just get organized. It's amazing to me that I took a little time off, so hopefully maybe you missed me, maybe not. But I'm back, and it's taking me a minute to try and get used to or to remember how to actually get myself set up on Facebook. So let me, sorry, as I try to do this and remember what I have to do. So I can see comments. Now, first of all, so welcome to Stamping with Melva. It's Sunday afternoon, and here I am back after an amazing week off doing another thing that I absolutely love, and that's Saori weaving. Hey, Nancy. So I spent 7 days completely immersed in weaving and just being with a whole bunch of like-minded weavers. We had so much fun, and I have to say I came home exhausted and a little out of practice in going live. So we'll get this sorted out. I'm also in a bit of a different position in my studio because I have a class this afternoon on Zoom, and so I'm kind of set up for the class. So I've kind of shifted, and that's caused me a little bit of change and having to get used to things. But I think I'm ready to go. All right, so I'm back live. It's Sunday here. It's a little bit of a gray day on the West Coast. But it's kind of nice to get rid of some of the heat that we've been having. And so hopefully you're having a good summer. Hey, Pam. It's interesting that it's already almost the end of July. I'm looking on Facebook. The other day I realized, or when I last went live, that for whatever reason, I wasn't seeing comments on Facebook. And so I apologize if you're watching me on my Facebook group and you're commenting. I'm not seeing those comments for whatever reason. I'll have to sort that out. And so I will go back and look at them. All right, let's get started. I am going to make a card using a stamp set that I have not used to this point. Shifting around so that I have my blocks, my glue. Gosh, I really am out of practice. Some dimensionals here so that I can make it. So I am using, let me switch over, the Cutest cow bundle. Isn't this adorable? And I'm going to make a card out of it. Like I said, I haven't actually used the stamp set and punch bundle, but it is just so darn cute that I couldn't resist today. And hopefully you can see that. Like I said, things are a little bit different setup. Okay, so I pulled out Summer Splash to use, bright and cheery for a summer card. So this piece is 5.5 by 8.5, and I'm going to score it at 4 1/4. Should have my phone handy, and that way I could see if there are comments on my Facebook group. And for whatever reason, I'm not seeing any comments, and that could be just fine. But if there are comments, I feel bad about not responding. Okay. Reach over and grab. So I've scored this 5.5 by 8.5. I've scored it at 4 1/4, and we'll fold into the mountain of the raised line. And hopefully that lighting, it's a bit off. Maybe that's a little bit better. Okay. Okay, so I've scored it at 4 1/4, and we're just burnishing that with my bone folder. And then I have a piece of blueberry bushel. I thought that blueberry bushel and Summer Splash looked pretty together. And so this piece of blueberry bushel is 3 3/4 by 5. And then I have a piece of basic white. Hey, Kathy, welcome. The piece of basic white that is, let's see, 3.5 by 4 3/4. And so that will be that layer there. So just a bit of an extra border or extra wide border for the Summer Splash, because I love that color. Okay, so we're going to first of all stamp the cow. So my trick around stamping the cow, so this is the cow builder punch, and you can see that it will cut the head, the body, and then some extra pieces that if you're going to make a cow without doing coloring, I'm going to do some coloring and this light is shining. You can actually, so this is 90%. So the punched images and stamped images are actually bigger. So it will punch images that you can actually use on your cow. I'm not going to use them because I'm going to color, but if you'll get these extra bits. So the way I like to do this is I create a template, and all I did was take a piece of basic white cardstock, and I just create a template by punching that out. And so that means that when I stamp, I'm going to stamp between these lines, and I don't have any Post-it note tape to hold that in place, so hopefully it doesn't shift. So I'm going to stamp my images. Brand new stamp set. So I'm going to stamp the body of the cow. So I stamp my images in these openings, and that way when I go to punch it out, I'm not fussing around to figure out which way they go. Hopefully that's the right one. So I've got my body of my cow. So that's all I really want to punch out a stamp. So I've got my body of my cow, and then the head will fit in there. So we're going to stamp this using Tuxedo Black because I'm going to use my blends to, oh gosh, I need to stand up and see. Sometimes using a different color than basic white to create your template is best, but that's not too bad. So we've got that there. So there's my head. And now I'm just going to take, hopefully we're going to get our body. So when you're doing it, and I hopefully got it in close enough proximity that when I stamp, I will get that punched out correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and punch this. And so now when you do this, you could stamp all of those images. You get your position, all of your stamped images in the right position so that you can go ahead and punch them all out at once, like I did. But I would suggest that rather than doing it on white, do it on a color. So then you have those extra pieces that I just brushed away. So if you were punching those out, or stamp, you could punch those out in different colors and add them to your cow. But I am going to color my cow in using I've got basic gray, I've got smoky slate, and I've got a dark petal pink. So the dark petal pink is going to be for the kind of the area around its mouth. And mine's going to be a dairy cow, so it's going to be, let's see, I have dark smoky slate. I don't think that's dark enough, so I've got basic gray as well. So I'm going to use basic gray for the spots on the cow. Let's use this. Oh, that didn't work. Let's use the, no, I don't use this one very much. There we go. I don't use basic gray very much, so we'll just switch them. So this is going to be a dairy cow. So I'm just coloring his spots. I'm going to use his body, or keep his body white. So I'm really no blending with this at all. You can just color. So you could use your markers if you don't have blends. You could use watercolor pencils. Up to you what you want to use with this, all sorts of ways. But this is really just coloring, so the markers work just as well. Let's do his fringe, as my grandmother used to call it. I always called them bangs, but my grandmother was from England, and so she called them a fringe. All right, and then we'll just put a little bit of pink in his ear. So I'm going to keep him pretty plain because he's a dairy cow. So he's white and black, like that. Okay, so on this is going to be, I'm going to pop him up on here, but let's create a bit of a background for the cow using these fun I am so unorganized today. That's what happens when you realize you're going live and then you're not set up to go live. All right, so I'm going to stamp in Memento a whole row of these fun sunflowers. I'm going to stamp them fairly close to the top because I want to put a sentiment, and maybe just some lowers and some higher. You could do some masking if you wanted to, but I'm just going to stamp like that. Put a sentiment on here, and I pulled out Daffodil Delight bangs. Yes, fringe. Oh yeah, my grandmother, my mom was from England as well, and both of them called it a fringe. So that's how I grew up, calling my bangs fringe. Okay, so I've got Daffodil Delight for the sunflower. So this is the dark. So again, I am just coloring. And if the sections of these are so small, it doesn't really give you much room to do much blending. So I am, oh, my squeaky stamp and blend. So we'll do the middle of my sunflower. Actually, I changed my mind. I'm going to do the middle and the outside. That light Daffodil Delight was just way too light, so I'm just going to color my whole thing. I could have done it all at once, but we'll do the outside of the flowers. When I was originally thinking about this card, I had it in my mind that my border on from my not smoky slate, Summer Splash was going to be bigger, and I was going to do some stamping on it, but there really isn't much. It's a bit of a wider border, but I think it's only maybe ½ an inch, so not a lot of room to do much stamping on there. We'll see when I get it kind of laid out whether I want to actually add some stamped images on that Summer Splash. Always do that before you kind of glue everything together. You guys see, so just coloring. Doesn't take too long. These daffodils just make me happy. They make me happy. Daffodils. What am I doing? I'm coloring in Daffodil Delight sunflowers, not daffodils. All right. And then again, this is Lemon Lime Twist. So that's the color. I'm on a bright theme today, so that's the color I've got for my leaves. Bright and cheery. So my weaving retreat was amazing. I did a little bit of weaving. I did a lot of clothing, making clothing from some of the fabrics that I had woven over the course of the last year. So I actually learned how to weave last year at the same time in this same workshop. And this year we were there for 7 days instead of 5. And so I was able to take a whole bunch of my fabric that I have created, made, and make some clothing out of it. So that was fun to do. There are a whole bunch of art courses go on during this. It's called Missa, and it's like an art camp for adults. So fun. So there was pottery and painting and paper mache, just most amazing things going on. Well, we spent our days weaving. All right, there is my sunflowers. So I'm going to adhere this. Actually, before I adhere it on, I want to stamp a sentiment. So let's see which sentiment we want to use. I want to use this congratulations sentiment. And then this milk it for all it's worth, just because I think that's kind of fun. So let's see. Find it. Congratulations is there. So these are really little stamps. They would go easily on a little like a 1/2 inch strip of cardstock. So if you save like I do, the little 1/2 inch strip of cardstock that you cut off when you cut, say, the inside of your card. So there's 4 inches by 5 1/4. You always end up with that little piece. I saved those if I want to use them for sentiments. But for this one, let's just see if I've got this pretty straight. We'll just go with it. There we go. So that can go in the bottom. And then this can adhere. Oh, paper mache. Yeah. Oh my gosh. They were making amazing things. My friend she actually was taking, it's called Paper Love, and she was doing all sorts of treatment of paper, like cyano printing and mono printing and all sorts of really cool things. So we wandered around one night and looked at things, and some of these paper mache pieces were like 4 feet tall. Like, gosh, people were amazing in what they were creating. All right, so we're just going to put our little cow right there on the head. We got to do a fashion show on Tuesday night. So every Monday and Tuesday night, the instructors for these courses got up and did a talk, 10 minutes or so, a talk about their art. And oopsie, I want to keep that a little lower. And so we instead, the instructor did a little talk, and then we all got up and did a fashion show of some of the pieces that we had been sewing. At that point, we were already day 4, and so we had some things to show for it. And so that was so much fun. Okay, isn't that cute? Oh my gosh, how adorable is that little cow? Oops, let's get it going the right way. Here we go, going backwards to what I think. All right, I pulled out some ribbon. So this is the black and very vanilla ribbon. So I'm going to try and tie a very little bow, because I'm going to try and put that bow on my cow instead of a bell. All right, 7 days away and I've forgotten how to tie a bow. So hopefully, well, maybe you haven't heard, but if you haven't heard, Stampin' Up! Is doing a free shipping day on Tuesday, July 23rd. And so on orders in Canada of $100 or more, they will qualify for free shipping. So that's a great time to stock up on maybe some basics. Maybe grab that bundle that you've been eyeing. Maybe this is that bundle that you've been thinking about. I just want a really little bow here. There we go. And to make it even better, you will qualify for bonus coupons. And so let's put that little bow on my cow. That's why I wanted it to be little. So yeah, so that starts on Tuesday at midnight Mountain Time. So my little cow has a little bow. Can I make it smaller? I don't think so. All right, there we go. Trim it. Oh, I did make it a little smaller. Perfect. Okay, there we go. Might have to trim that one too, but I'll get it on the card. All right, so then this can go on. We won't do any stamping. I think I'm good with this. Like that. trim this a little bit, just a little bit. There we go. Okay, now I have a piece of basic white for the inside of the card. So what shall we stamp on the inside of the card? Maybe just this little milk carton, milk crate, milk jug. That's probably better what it is. It's actually a milk jug. There we go. So let's just color that. In smoky slate, because they're often silver. At least that's what I remember. I grew up in a very small town, and so they had actually a creamery, which you don't see very often. And so these were all silver that were lined up outside the creamery. There we go. Now, if you are using basic white to color for the inside of the card, if you have a basic white card base, you want to make sure that you're putting a layer on top, because you will see those Stampin' Blends through. So you don't want to just use a basic white card base and then color, because you will see the blends come through. Oh my gosh, isn't he cute? He's so cute. Somewhere I pulled, these are the Tinsel Gems 3-pack. So we will just grab my take your pick tool. This one has, I think that's, not sure what color that is now that might be Pool Party. I'm not positive, but it goes lovely with Summer Splash. So we're just going to use some of these. I love it that you can kind of mix and match the sentiment or the embellishments, because this is definitely not Summer Splash, because these were carried over. So it has the Fresh Freesia. I believe that's Night of Navy. And that's probably Coastal Cabana now that I think about it. So, but it coordinates really nicely with the Summer Splash. So there we go. There is the Cutest Cow card, a congratulations card. Not sure who will get this, but somebody will get this card. Oh, and now I am seeing comments on Facebook. Hey, Gabriella, welcome. Oh, Jacqueline. Oh, good. Okay. I was worried that the comments, because a couple of times ago, now that that's going down, so I'm really out of sorts here today. We'll get back to my regular filming station on Tuesday when I go live. All right, thanks for joining me today. Thanks for putting up with my kind of rambling and getting back into the swing of things. I will be live again on Tuesday at 6:30 Pacific with my sketch challenge. So hopefully you can join me then. And then on Wednesday, we'll be back live at 6:30 with a technique for you. Now, Thursday, I'm going to go live probably a little earlier in the day, probably about 3 o'clock with my thank you cards. Every month, I do a kit of thank you cards that you get if you put an order of $50 or more. And so I will show you the cards that will be part of the kit for August. So come join me then too. And otherwise, hope you have a great day and happy stamping. Bye, everybody.